Our Katha tonight, very simple. It speaks about Prabhu Shri Ram and Sita Ma meeting each other, seeing each other for the first time, and the love that blossomed, the love that grew. It is said, when Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman were with Vishwamindra, there was one day in particular where the sun started to rise one beautiful morning. And on that beautiful morning, it is when Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman, they woke up. They took their bath and they went to Vishwamindra, took his blessings, and they went and they started to perform puja, started to perform worship, started to offer their devotion. And having performed their puja, having done their worship, having done their devotion, it is that both Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman, they decided that they would take a little adventure through the beautiful city of Mithila, and in particular through the garden, the royal garden, the most beautiful garden. And it is said, Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman roaming that garden, picking flowers, picking leaves. It is said at that very moment in time, Sita Devi was also in that garden, surrounded by her friends. And all of them together, Sita Devi and her friends, they were journeying towards the beautiful Devi Mandir to perform puja. And while she was heading towards that mandir, Shri Ram and Lakshman, they were picking flowers. None of them knew each other was present at that moment in time. Shri Ram and Lakshman busy picking their flowers and speaking among themselves. Sita Devi and her friends heading in the direction, walking through that garden, heading towards that Devi Mandir. And Sita Devi, my dear devotee, she arrived at that temple to pray relationships. If you cannot communicate with one another, that is problems. How many couples in the world today, they bundle up their anger, they bundle up their problems, they bundle up their ailments, they bundle up their difficulties. And when an argument comes, everything comes out in the open. And then they realize that no one ever communicated with each other. No one ever took a moment to speak to one another. It is said, no matter what stage of your relationship you are, communicate with one another. Tell each other your secrets, tell each other your problems, tell each other how your day went. Don't keep it inside here. And it is said, my dear friends, when a relationship can have communication, when a relationship can have respect, when a relationship can have trust, and there are many other qualities, that relationship is a healthy relationship. But the moment that relationship lacks communication, the moment that relationship lacks trust and lacks respect, that relationship is nothing more than a toxic, unhealthy relationship. And Sita Mata, she was praying for a relationship that was healthy. She was praying for a love that was healthy, a love that would be based on trust, a love where there would be respect, a love where there would be communication. And it is said, my dear devotees, while she was praying for that love, while she was praying for that companion, one of her friends wandered off from the temple, and she was, searching around that garden. And while she was looking around that garden, Sita Devi and some of the friends remained. And this friend searching, looking around, wandering around, you know who she saw? She saw Prabhu Shri Ram and she saw Lakshman. And when she saw Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman, it is said she was mesmerized. She immediately ran straight back to that mandir to tell Sita Ma, to tell the other girls that she has just seen the two princes of Ayodhya, the two sons of Maharaj Dashrath. Running back to that temple, they see her glowing, they see her beaming with excitement. They ask her, what happened? What did you see? Who did you see? And she started to explain to them, she saw Prabhu Shri Ram, she saw Lakshman, two brothers, one dark in color, one fair. And the moment they heard, everybody left that temple and they went to see with their own eyes these two brothers. Sita Ma, following her friend, she's searching all around. Her eyes is going from place to place just in case she spots them before. The friend continues to lead them in that direction, and they're searching for Shri Ram. They're searching for where they saw them. Sita Ma, her eyes going all over, but she didn't see them. And while walking in that garden, my dear devotees, while searching that garden, it is then Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman, they're continuing to pick their flowers. And while picking their flowers, it is said Prabhu Shri Ram started to hear the sound of bangles in the distance. He started to hear the sound of anklets and bells in the distance. and he stopped picking the flowers. He stopped picking the flowers and he paused and he listened to where that sound was coming from. And when he looked through the plants and he looked through the trees, in the distance, he saw the beautiful Sita Devi. And the moment his eyes fell upon Sita Devi, it is said he stood there speechless. He stood there lost, love at first sight. He stood there completely mesmerized by her beauty, mesmerized by just the sound of her anklets, the sound of her bangles. And Prabhu Shri Ram, seeing Sita Devi, she has not seen him yet. The other girls have not seen them yet. He just looks at her beauty, and all he can think about is this Devi adds charm to charm itself. This Devi adds beauty to beauty itself. It is that his eyes couldn't even close, just glued to Sita Ma. And it is said suddenly her friends spotted them, and they pointed, and when they pointed Sita Devi, her eyes fell upon Shri Ram. And when her eyes fell upon Shri Ram, she herself became mesmerized. She herself was in awe of his beauty. He was radiating, he was glowing in the distance. She herself became speechless, her eyes glued to him. And you know what she did? Anybody want to take a guess what she did? She looked at him from head to toe. From toe to head. Just glued to him, mesmerized by him. It is said when her friends saw how bewildered and how in awe Sita Devi was, they started to smile, they started to laugh. And one of her friends said, Sita, it is getting late, we cannot delay, we cannot stay too long, let us go home, let us go back by Ma, let us go back to the Mandir area, and we will come back tomorrow and maybe we'll see them again, maybe we'll get a glimpse of them again. And Sita Ma, she agreed. And you know what she did? Continuing to stare at Prabhu Shri Ram in the distance, she closed her eyes. And when she closed her eyes, she envisioned him in her mind. And the moment she pictured him in her mind, she trapped it in the heart and she locked it right there. She locked the image of Shri Ram in her mind, the image of Shri Ram in her heart. Her entire body, there was a thrill running through it. It is said, listening to her friends, she turned and she started to walk back to the Mandir area, back to her home. And you know what she did? As she was walking, Randy, every couple of seconds, she turned and she took a peek. She turned and she glanced at him, take a little glimpse at him, and she smiled. And she continued to walk. It is that Prabhu Shri Ram looking at Lakshman, he explains to Lakshman that is the princess, the daughter of Janak. She is the one that the swayamvara, the breaking of the bow ceremony, is being held for tomorrow. And Prabhu Shri Ram and Lakshman just stood there in amazement, in awe, in admiration. Sita Devi, my dear devotees, together with her friends, she goes back to that Mandir, to that Devi, and she begins to pray again. This time, you all know what she prayed for? She didn't pray for love now. In her mind, she found love. She was now about to pray to get that love. They said she went back to that Mandir and she started to pray to Durga Ma, asking Durga Ma and telling Durga Ma to fulfill that dream of her, to fulfill that wish of hers. She told Durga Ma, oh Durga Ma, you are the consort of Shiv Baba, you are the consort of this entire world itself, you are the protector of this entire world, you are the mother of Kartikeya, you are the mother of Ganesh Baba. Please fulfill this wish, this desire. And it is said, my dear devotees, the love of Sita Ma was so much that Devi Ma blessed her. And she said, your wish will be fulfilled. Your desire will be fulfilled. And it is said, the mala from around that murti fell to Sita Devi. Sita Devi taking that mala, hearing the words of the mother, she felt overjoyed, she felt happy, she felt excited. Now let me pause here and let me ask you something. Sita Devi, one thing to get Shri Ram, she went to pray. And she believed that through devotion and through prayer, she would achieve what it is she wanted to achieve. My dear devotees, you and I can learn something very valuable from that. Every single one of us, we have something we want to achieve. Not only love, we don't only want to get the girl, or we don't only want to get the boy. Sometimes we want to get the happiness, sometimes we want to get the job, sometimes we want to get the good grades in the exam. And whatever your goal may be, you have to take the necessary steps to acquire it. For Sita Devi, she wanted Sri Ram, and the necessary steps to get Sri Ram was through devotion. You and I, we have goals, we have aims, we have ambitions, and in order to get what we want, we have to take the necessary steps. You cannot sit at home and expect everything to show up at your front door. Life does not work like that. And sometimes we tend to forget that. Sometimes we tend to forget that we have to come out and actually do things in order to achieve what we want. Actually do things to reach where we want to reach. We forget that. And I'll break it down very simple. If a child wants to pass the exam, he has 1 week to study, and in that 1 week he doesn't pick up the book. Will that child pass that exam? No. Because the child made no effort to study. If you are looking for a job, if you're unemployed and you want a job, what do? Do you sit at home and wait for a company to call you? No, you send out your resumes and hopefully someone sees and calls. If you want to learn to play an instrument, what do you need to do? Do you just go online and look and see how to play the guitar? Well, first you have to buy a guitar. You have to go out there and purchase the guitar. And you have to follow along with what they are doing. Whatever it is you want to achieve, whatever it is you want to do, you have to take the necessary steps to achieve it. Opportunities, my dear devotees, don't always come knocking. And I always use this saying, if opportunity does not knock, build your own door of opportunity. Write that down if you have to. When opportunity does not come, my dear devotees, sometimes you need to build your own door of opportunity. Sometimes you need to stand up on your own and do things for your own good. Do things for your own future. And the world is getting worse by the moment. People are becoming more and more selfish by the minute. Not everyone has the genuine quality of love in them. Not everyone will help. Sometimes you have to do it on your own 2 feet. And Sita Devi is showing you and I, in order to get her goal, which is Sri Ram, she took the necessary steps, which was devotion. I ask you tonight, what are you doing? What are you doing to get your goal? What are you doing to achieve what you want to achieve? I tell you something, if you don't remember anything else I have said before or will say again, go out there and work for what you want. Go out there and work as hard as you can for what you want. Hustle, my dear devotees, like if you have no money in the world. Work so hard that no one can question your success. Go out there and do what you need to do. And Sita Mata, my dear devotees, getting the blessings of the Devi, taking that mala, she goes back to her home. Prabhu Sri Ram and Lakshman, all they are thinking about was the beauty of Sita Devi, the beauty of her friend. Sri Ram just mesmerized by the beauty of Sita Ma. Wherever he looked, all he thought about was Sita Devi. You know, boys, when you fall in love, when you see somebody you love, everywhere you look, you think about them. Anything you see, you think about them. If you're driving on the road, you think about them. If you're playing a nice little Indian song, oh gosh, Jai Shri Ram, you imagine you singing the Indian song. If you're watching a movie, well, oh boy, you believe you and she in the movie, or she and boy and girl, girl, boy, whatever it matters, it doesn't know. That is how it is, my dear devotees. When you're in love, suddenly everything looks different, everything changes. And this is how Sri Ram was feeling. Whatever he did, wherever he went, everything he was thinking about was Sita Ma. Everything he saw was Sita Ma. It is said when he went to lay in the ground to sleep, he looking up at the skies, he saw the moon and he started to compare the beauty of the moon to Sita, and he said, no, the moon cannot compare to her beauty. He looked at the stars and he said, no, the stars cannot compare to her beauty. Everything he did, he thought about her. It is said, my dear friends, the next morning when Prabhu Sri Ram and Lakshman woke up, going to Vishwamitra, taking their blessings, he looks at Prabhu Sri Ram, he looks at Lakshman, and he said, get ready, organize yourself. Raja Janak has sent his messengers to invite us to the swayamvara, the breaking of the bow that is happening today. And the moment Sri Ram heard the words of sage Vishramindra, he was overjoyed. He was filled with excitement. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. Together with Lakshman, they organized themselves, my dear devotees, and they took footsteps towards the palace of Janak, towards the home of Sita Ma, towards where that ceremony was taking place. My dear friends, sometimes in life, what is meant for you, you know what, will always find its way to you. Remember that. In this life that we live in, sometimes what is meant for you will always find its way to you. And Prabhu Sri Ram, all he was doing was thinking about Sita Ma. All he was doing is becoming mesmerized and filled with admiration and adoration for Sita Ma, only to wake up the morning after and hear news that he has been invited to the ceremony. My dear friends, remember this. If something is meant for you, it will find its way. It will always find its way. Sometimes we live in a world where we become little impatient, where we look at the success of others and we become little envious of their success. No, their success is their success. Let them enjoy it. Your success will come. There's enough sunlight for everybody. There's enough sunshine for everybody. There's enough success for everybody. And Sri Ram and Lakshman, my dear devotees, together with Vishramindra, they began to go in the direction of that swayamvara. Together, it is said, as they were walking, the news broke. And when the news broke that Sri Ram and Lakshman, they were coming, so many individuals in that city of Mithila, they were filled with joy. So many individuals, they came out to take a glance, to take a glimpse of Sri Ram and Lakshman. It is said, when they arrived at that kingdom, something very, very important took place. And what took place there is what takes place in your life, your life, your life, and my life. Anybody know what took place when Sri Ram and Lakshman arrived at that swayamvara? When they arrived there were so many people. There were kings, there were princes, there were soldiers, there were ministers, there were messengers, there were rakshasas disguised as princes, as kings. There were so many people. And the moment Sri Ram arrived there, something happened. Every single person there, they saw Sri Ram based on what they had in their mind. They saw Sri Ram based on what they were going through in their life. They saw Sri Ram based on the kind of individual they were. And that's a very important point. Listen very carefully. When Sri Ram and Lakshman arrived there, it is said, the kings who were filled with so much arrogance and pride, they saw Sri Ram in a very scary, very fierce form. It is said the Rakshasas that were disguised as kings, they saw Sri Ram like if he was death himself. The warriors, those men that fought war, they saw Sri Ram like a hero. The people that were wise, filled with knowledge, like the Brahmins, the Sadhus, the sages, they saw Sri Ram in his cosmic form with multiple hands, his different faces. And it is said the devotees, the bhaktas, the followers, they saw Sri Ram and Lakshman as embodiments of humility and humanity. So depending on who you were, that is how you saw the Lord. And devotees, this will sound very, very harsh, but it is the truth. Sometimes depending on what he says about someone, that is how you see them. Sometimes what she tells you about someone, that is how you see them. Sometimes what you hear on the outside about someone, that is how you interpret them. Sometimes you don't know a person, you have never met a person, you have never spoken to a person, but because of what you are going through in your own life, that is how you see them. So the Rakshasas, they saw Sri Ram as death himself. The kings that were evil and arrogant, they saw Sri Ram in a very fierce form. But those that had love in their heart, they saw Sri Ram like love himself. Those who had knowledge, they saw Sri Ram as God himself. And in your life and in my life, everybody has their own interpretation of you. Some of it is good, some of it is bad. And no matter how good you are, Vern, no matter how good you are, Vi, you are always the enemy in somebody's story. You are always the villain in somebody's life. No matter who you are, no matter how good you are, there's always someone out there who dislikes every single pore on your body. It is the reality of life. So many people, based on what they are going through, that is how they see people. Now, if anybody is confused, let me simplify it for you. Look at it like this. Let us say you have a job, you are working, and this person, they don't like you. They really, really don't like you. And they start to do things to get you fired. They go to the boss and they complain and they complain and they complain, trying to get you fired. But the boss doesn't fire you. And now, when the boss doesn't fire you, when the boss isn't listening to them, they become a little scared that maybe if the boss tells them what they were doing, maybe you will also try to go and get them fired. So because they were trying to get you fired, they think now that maybe you have the same mentality like them and you will also try to get them fired. That is what I mean by when you have a negative mindset or you're going through something, you see people the same way. Devotees, not everybody is like you. Just because you will go to the ends of the earth to get someone fired, doesn't mean that same exact person will go to the ends of the earth to get you fired. Just because you ask someone for a favor, or someone asks you for a favor, and you request that one day to come they have to repay you, doesn't mean it will work vice versa. Sometimes you can ask that same person for a favor and they ask nothing of you. And sometimes in the world we live in today, what we are going through, what we are facing, we think everybody is like that. And I will continue to use the example. Sometimes if you go in a function and you are facing some sort of battle and the lecturer says something or the teacher says something or the speaker says something that offends you, the speaker don't know you there. The person who is speaking don't know what you're going through. Don't assume that they know what you are going through. Don't assume that they are throwing it for you. You are just facing your own battle and it happened to fall in your garden. We live in a world, in the today world that we live in. Sometimes everybody believes every post on Facebook is about them. Every word the speaker says is about them. Every status on WhatsApp is about them. No. People have their life to live. You live your life. Stop worrying about who likes you, who doesn't like you. Stop worrying about what he says, what she says. Live your own life. And all of the kings and all of the Rakshasas there, because of the kind of people they were, because of how evil-minded they were, they saw Sri Ram in the scariest of forms. They saw Sri Ram in the most negative of forms, the fiercest of forms. My lesson to all of you, my dear devotees, and if you don't remember anything, remember this one. Don't judge people. Just because you are going through something or you would go the length and breadth to hurt someone doesn't mean that same person will do the same thing to you. Just because you will try to get someone fired doesn't mean that same person will try to get you fired. Just because you want someone to return a favor to you doesn't mean that they want you to return the same favor to them. Sometimes people just do things out of the goodness of their heart. Their life does not revolve around you. What they say, they don't know what is happening in your life. Keep in your own lane. Focus on yourself and don't focus on what they are doing. Sri Ram entering into that swayamvara, every single person saw him depending on who they were and what they were experiencing. It is said some of them became so frightened, some of them became so scared, they left immediately. Some of them became so arrogant, they decided that they would show off to Sri Ram and they would show how great they were. And some of them became disenchanted immediately and they said it doesn't make sense. We try to lift that bow. Once Sri Ram is here, he will succeed. He will get Sita Devi. He will lift that bow. It is said, my dear devotees, as Prabhu Sri Ram, he entered into that swayamvara with Lakshman and Vishramindra. They sat. All eyes were on them. Raja Janak was overjoyed to see them. And as the time came, Sita Ma and her friends entered into that arena. And the moment Sita Ma entered into that arena, you know what was the first thing she did? She looked at every single person. She started to search for every single person. And searching, she was only looking for Sri Ram. She was only looking to get a glimpse of Sri Ram, looking to see Sri Ram. And lo and behold, in the distance, she sees him. It is said the moment she sees him, she feels a sense of happiness. She feels a sense of joy. She feels a sense of calmness. And feeling this sense of calmness, it is said Raja Janak, he tells his messengers to announce the vow, announce the purpose, everyone is here. It is said, Raja Janak, his ministers, they announce that whoever can lift the bow of Shiv Baba, they will be fortunate to marry Sita Devi. They will be renowned and known in all the three worlds. They will gain the name and the fame and the wealth and the success. And it said the moment everyone understood what they were gaining when they lifted that bow, it is said many of the kings, one by one, puffed with pride, puffed with arrogance, they got up and they went up to that bow. And you know what they did when they saw the bow? In a very angry manner, they grabbed it and tried to lift. In a very hasty manner, they grabbed it and tried to lift. And you know something? No one could have lifted it. One by one they all came, and one by one with anger and with arrogance and with pride, with the intention to show off, they tried to lift that bow and they couldn't lift it. No matter how much they tried, no matter how much energy and effort they put, they couldn't lift it. It is said they started to come up in pairs and teams, and eventually every single one there, they came trying to lift that bow and they couldn't. It is that Raja Janak, he became so angry, he became so upset, he felt so offended. He looked at everyone and he started to quarrel, he started to insult them. He said, how can you all not lift this bow? You all are strong, you all are fearless, you all have fought so many battles, you all rule. Where's your strength? Don't any one of you want to marry my daughter? Doesn't any one of you want to have your name renowned in the three lokas? Have name, fame, wealth and happiness? And he became very, very angry. Lakshman, hearing how Raja Janak started to insult everybody, he himself started to become angry and he wanted to speak, but Sri Ram told him no. And Vishramindra, my dear devotees, he looked at Lakshman, he looked at Sri Ram, he looked at that bow, he looked at Janak, he looked at everyone, and he knew exactly what to do. He looked at Sri Ram and he said, Prabhu, you go and you lift that bow. And you know what was the first thing Sri Ram did when he stood up? Somebody take a guess. He bowed to the feet of Vishramindra. What did everybody else do? They got up. They went to that bow angrily. What did Sri Ram do? He got up and he bowed. Respect. Respect. Sita Devi immediately saw that, mesmerized more. Prabhu Sri Ram, taking the blessings of Vishramindra, he now goes in the direction of that bow. It is said every single person there, some filled with anger and envy towards him, the devotees filled with love and joy, cannot wait to see the Lord approach that bow. Prabhu Sri Ram lifting that bow, he broke it into pieces. The moment he broke that bow, it is said the sound that that bow made echoed through the entire of Patal, echoed through the entire earth, echoed through into the heavenly abode. It is said the waters of the ocean began to roar the moment that bow was broken. Tears started to flow from the eyes of Sita. Celebrations in the entire kingdom of Janak began. Everybody started to glorify the name of Sri Ram. It is said all of those that were envious of him, they had no words. They had no words. Sita Ma, with tears from her eyes, overjoyed, she goes up to Prabhu Sri Ram and she places that mala upon his neck. Prem se bolo Shri Ramachandra ki, Umapari Mahadev ki, Raja Ramachandra ki. And the moment she placed that mala upon his neck, my dear devotees, it is said she got that wish. Her desire was fulfilled. My dear friends, love is one of the greatest feelings in this world. To love and to be loved. And this is what Sri Rama and Sita had. They loved each other and they felt love for each other. They celebrated the love for one another. And it shows us, my dear friends, that when you have love in your heart, love in your life, everything that needs to fall in place will fall in place. When you have love in your heart and love in your life, the world and the universe will bend for you. My dear friends, I hope with this simple message this afternoon, this evening, I hope you were able to understand. I hope you were able to learn something, take back something, share it with someone around you. But I want to leave you with one thing. I leave you with love. have love in your heart, love in your mind, and may your entire life, once it is filled with love, have wealth, have happiness, have peace, have success. प्रेम से बोलो श्री रामचंद्र की जय।